Lyon Opera Ballet d'Opera de Lyon is starting next week. Its performance is at the Joyce. And you will be performing the works of three of the most important choreographers in contemporary dance, Maguy Marin, Forsythe, and Cunningham. So my first question is if you can give us your perspective on why you chose these three pieces, why you're putting them together, what is your programming choices, and if there are some thematic or stylistic commonalities or differences that put these three pieces together.
First, there is no thematic or stylistic similarities or whatever. I don't think so. The only common thing I see for all three is quality. And what I would also see is that it shows the diversity, the choice of the repertoire of the company. Different generations, different origins, different techniques, different approach to dance. Some completely modern and abstract or minimal, some with theatricality and different, more theatrical and expressive approach. I also think that one of, sometimes we want to say that decisions are made because of this and that and that. Sometimes it's very simple and very banal, as we say. It's because this one we danced it already. There we have been with this piece. For a technical reason, we cannot do this one. For that reason, this one. Yes. This dancer is not able. This choreographer has. So sometimes it's not because we can do this or this one, and finally we can do only what we have here. But I think it's there are three major choreographers. And what is this company? This company is a company that is working for the last 25 years to create a repertoire with dancers who have originally been trained as classical dancers, have decided to change, or they're young enough to be in schools now where they're, you can be trained in both classical and modern. And it helps to have this rep because, to dance William Forsythe, some of his works, you need to have a point work, classical thing. For Maguy Marin, something different. For Merce, something different. But there are common things. So I think what I would say is that it's a program that at least gives an image of what this company is. So of course we could do different programs, other pieces of Forsythe. At a certain point I want to do second detail, but we need a bigger stage. Sometimes, as I was telling you, some of the works we need another space, or we did it already, so this is for this theater, these three works, it's the best I could imagine.
Great. Generally your programming is very much focused on creating a dialogue and exchange between forms, generations, styles, and bringing together artists from different backgrounds and creating such a, I would say, cross-cultural or intercultural perspective. So I was wondering that as opposed to that, whether you have found in the places you work, and you work in very specific geographical places, as artistic director, if you have found that there are specific aesthetic preoccupations or specific needs or current trends that are particular, say, to France or to Europe or North America.
First of all, what you call the intercultural and the exchange and everything, to me, is the very base of art. If there is something we can say about art, is art does not need a passport, no visa, can cross countries with smile. Nothing else. No photograph, no permission. So it's almost natural. I mean, I have a company with 32 dancers. We are 16 nationalities. I stopped doing auditions. When we travel around the world, I have some people coming and do class with us, and then they stay if they're good, and I ask them to rehearse with us, and it's so natural. So I have people from China, from South America, from Cuba, from America, from England, from Greece, from everywhere. So this is, to me, it's really natural, and it's even more, I would say, for music and dance, more so than theater, where language is not a problem, but I mean, you really, you know it very well yourself, I mean, working as an actor. So, but for dance, I mean, human body is the same, north, south, east, west, and also music is the same thing. So I think it's a great thing. So, of course, the difference you mentioned about different approaches of the public for different things, that's for sure, and I think this is something we learn. I would say in the same country, very well, the public is not the same in New York like in Texas, or like in Lincoln, Nebraska, or like I don't know where. So it's the same thing. So with different countries, although now art is traveling more and with television and internet and all of that, nevertheless, what's interesting is that every time you start an experience in a new place or new country, a new city, new public, you learn yourself. You don't know from the beginning what the reaction is going to be, but the reaction is teaching you many things. And if you go back there, then you can establish a relation, and with this relation the public is learning and you are learning from the public. And that's what's interesting. I mean, I went back to Greece after 38 years. I was in France to do this festival in Athens, and I didn't know what the festival was going to be. The only thing I knew is that I thought it was fun to have these antique theaters, but I wanted something new to see if young people would come. And the festival is not just to go and show your dress if you're a rich lady, but you know, curiosity and all that. So I learned from my own country of origin things that I have forgotten or I did not know, and I'm learning in Lyon, I'm learning in New York and everywhere, and that's what's interesting.
That's great. So you would say that, yeah, the specificities of each place, then you take them and you travel with them, and they change the new place. That's very exciting. So these days, in these times that we live in, there is a lot of discussion about funding for the arts. And there is also a lot of work from artists themselves to defend the arts as having the potential to contribute to the economy in the long run. And I was wondering, what is your perspective from working in Europe, and whether funding structures in Europe have facilitated your work, or you're encountering problems? Or
Well, first of all, I think that there are a few things like health, education, culture. That's why a country exists also. I think should be provided. I mean, as a European, I cannot understand that arts are not subsidized. You know, I mean, in Europe, our theater is subsidized from the city, the area around the city, because we perform in those places in different cities, from the government. So I think there is a very good thing here, which is private money, you know, sponsors who are helping and all of that. But there is a very good thing in Europe also, where the government helps. So I think both should exist. And we have a difficulty in persuading sponsors in Europe to give money, maybe because we are already subsidized. And there is a big difficulty here to persuade the government to give money to the arts as much as they should, I think.
So you would need a balance of both models.
I would need a balance. I think the government, I mean, the state should give money to, you know, for health, for education, and, you know, so people shouldn't pay for it. It's, you know, pay our taxes. That's what the taxes are for. Yeah.
On another note,